Brenda Gjo. I live at 145 Emerson Road in Harvardville, and I got some kind of questions to clear up with what just talked about tonight. But one question I want to ask, is the tax treaty done with TransCanada? Still not done. How many years has it been, that tax treaty with TransCanada?
TransCanada, yes.
Yeah, how many? It is? It is. It's fine. How many years did it take?
6, I think.
It's been quite a few years.
It was 6.
I know it's quite a few years. So how come the rush is to work with this tax treaty now? And I gotta admit, one part of the tax treaty, what Cale and Paul did, yeah, maybe the tax treaty was a little bit hard. But why not stick up for the part to have exceptional people, extras on that board? Knowing those 3 people that Gina Raimondo put on, and what association, I would have broke it down. I also want to know, I didn't get clearly when you supposedly had that executive meeting or meeting. Was it a table meeting like this? Was it a phone call? And I'm only asking because Miss Brown said she didn't talk to Dave. So I'm just curious, how did this vote go down? So the attorney just wrote this up on his own and just presented it to you? How did you get the vote? How did you tell the attorney to send that?
You sent it. You did it 2 weeks earlier, you said, right? So you sent it right at that time? 2 weeks earlier? Come on.
You talking about the press releases?
The what?
Are you speaking of the press release?
Not the press release.
The resolution?
What went to the House? The state?
The Senate?
The Senate.
The resolution?
The resolution did. Unsigned.
No, that was signed. That was signed.
That was signed by the whole town council?
The president on behalf of the council.
On behalf of the council. Okay. But you wrote it up, there was no separation, right? Did the town council ask with a vote for you to write that up? Come on, I know that's how it works, so were you asked by the town council, a majority vote, to write that?
That was voted upon by the whole council, and I believe it was a unanimous vote, yes.
Did they ask you to write that up, or did you do it on your own?
I wrote that up on my own for their consideration. I don't vote on it.
I know how attorneys work. I know about that. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so is there a time limit for this treaty?
What treaty?
To have this treaty signed with Advenergy? The tax treaty you're working on and hired these people to do, is there a time limit? I can never get if there's a time limit.
We haven't concluded any tax treaty with the vendor.
But what's the rush? Why you gotta make it now? Working on it now?
Yeah, I can answer that question very easily.
I really wish my constituents would answer.
We've been going round and round, but there's there's real reasons why a tax treaty is in the best interest of the town. And
That's not what she asked. Answer her question. Ask your question again, he missed it.
Right, the rest of us understand the question.
Maybe
No, you don't.
Question then if I'm not answering it. What is your question?
I don't remember what I asked.
Is there a time limit on when?
The time limit. Are they giving you a year? 6 months? What are they giving you?
No, if they get permitted before we reach agreement, if we reach agreement, the council hasn't taken a position whether they will enter into any agreement. But if the permit is issued by the siting board, we lose our leverage with them to get a property value agreement to be able to help the neighbors. We lose the ability to get them to sign a decommissioning agreement.
Let him answer.
All of this has to be done before the siting board issues the permit.
But you signed not to have the people help you with that tax agreement. with that tax treaty. You sent that letter to the Senate to kill it. So how come if you still have plenty of time because they haven't even got the permit? See, I'm one of those putting the cart before the horse. And that's what you did. Because if you aren't negotiating it already, you don't even know. So are you wasting, as the other lady asked, the taxpayers' money? Having these meetings, all the extras that's going on to pay for it?
You know, maybe some of you have not read the memorandum that was given to the council that's part of the press release that was issued. But in it are arguments, legal reasons why having a tax agreement is beneficial. And I'll give you...
I know why. You don't even have to waste my time. I know about tax agreements.
No, do you know why?
I know why, and I agree with them to cover. I really do. I just can't understand if they don't have the permitting, and we're not going to have anything till after February. It just, why is all this preparation being done? That was my whole thing. You know, as far as the time limit went. Also, I'm not getting about Miss Lacy. She was denied being on an agenda. Is that what I got here tonight, or asked to be postponed for another month? I'm curious on that. What was that, a denial?
It wasn't a denial.
Postponed?
I asked herself, and I believe Mrs. Lucier to put that discussion off until this meeting.
Did you give them a reason why?
Yeah, because we were going to go into executive session on the last meeting 2 weeks ago to discuss this specific bill and be able to have more information at this meeting. However, that the Senate moved up the hearing and the council decided to issue that press release and resolution before we had the opportunity. So yes, I know I lied to him, and I felt bad about it, but it wasn't my all my decision. I'm only one voice of seven.
But so that meant the whole town council said, yes, lie to them and tell them not to be on the agenda?
No, I didn't. That's not.
But what are you telling me? Did you make that decision?
I did. That's my decision.
You all by yourself?
Right. That's my decision.
Okay.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. She did not agree to that. I just asked her.
Who's that?
Mrs. Lacy. John,
Ms. Lacy.
I believe
You said she agreed to it.
And it wasn't, you didn't ask me, I just got a letter saying that I was not going to be put on the agenda.
I know that. I know.
Oh, all right.
You just said she agreed to it. She
said
didn't.
that you...
No, I agreed. I had said that I would put them off until this meeting.
Which one's the lie?
I got one more question.
Yep.
I was at the planning board meeting. It went on. Nobody got to speak. I have 5 pages of questions. Wish they ran it different. But my question to you is, they were talking about a lot of waivers. Waivers for noise, waiver for times in the morning, times at night. Who gives out waivers? Who changes the charter to make waivers to accommodate somebody? Oh, here we go again.
The citing board has all the authority to grant whatever waivers they wanted to grant. The planning board's job is to make
I was just curious. Their side said, well, we need a waiver because we want to start at 5 in the morning and contractors can't start till 7. We need a waiver because we got to shut down at 11, but it takes 2 hours.
So may I answer your
Everybody else has to be quiet
question?
at 10.
The citing board can grant waivers whether our planning board says yes or no.
Okay, I want to know what the board...
Our planning board's job is to listen to the experts and give recommendations to the citing board. The planning board may very well, hopefully, give real good, sound, logical reasons why waivers should not be granted. And then it's up to the citing board to decide whether, in spite of what the planning board says, whether to grant the permit or not. So that,
Are they townspeople?
I know.
I'm sorry?
Citing boards townspeople?
The citing board is the state.
Exactly, no, my point.
He's right.
She knows.
The planning board...
I'm sorry, if I misunderstand something. Yes, EFSB stands for, they are those 3 people that are sitting on that board are the ones that have the power to grant whatever waivers you're speaking of. The planning board will give them advisory opinions. Let's say suggesting, no, we don't want those waivers to be granted. But the siting board can say, well, thank you very much for your opinion, but we're going to grant them those waivers anyway. But this is why it's important, and I know every time I say that there's a process, but why this process is important is to give validity to what the planning board will issue to the siting board. That advisory opinion should be based on sound reason rather than emotion, and try to be convincing so that the siting board actually gives weight to our planning board's opinion.
So we have to go back to the planning board again and try to get a word in edgewise?
We have the next date is July 11th, where their experts will finish up and then people will have a right to comment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.